Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Guatemala has just announced that it will be the first country to follow America's example and move its embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. But now Israel says at least 10 other countries are also considering making such a move, despite the vast majority of nations condemning Trump's decision to declare Jerusalem as Israel's capital. A resolution officially denouncing the Jerusalem recognition passed 128 votes to 9 at the United Nations earlier this week, but on the heels of that vote, Guatemala broke the news that they would be relocating its embassy from Herzliya to Jerusalem anyhow. Rumor has it that Honduras and Paraguay may be next in line to follow. Honduras voted against the United Nations resolution earlier this week, and though Paraguay abstained from the vote, the country has very warm ties with Israel. Romania and Slovakia, as well as the African country of Togo, are reportedly considering relocating their embassies as well. Such moves would definitely be met with praise from Israeli leaders, who are hoping more countries follow suit soon. In overnight raids Monday, Israeli security forces conducted the closure of a metal workshop that was used in the manufacturing of illegal weapons. The workshop was near JENIN in the northern West Bank. In a separate situation at the Aida refugee camp, a violent riot broke out where Palestinians began throwing bricks at soldiers. 5 Palestinians were arrested for suspicion of involvement in terror and violent disturbances, 3 of which were from the refugee camp located just south of Jerusalem. These arrests come just days after the Shin Bet security services reported to the Knesset that over 1,500 terror attacks, 1,100 of which were suspected lone wolf-style attacks, have been thwarted over the past year. Shin Bet officials warn not to interpret any perceived calm as a sign of actual peace, however. Experts say terrorists are tirelessly plotting attacks, even if things seem quiet on the surface. Final approval by the Knesset has now been given as of this morning to a bill that requires Israeli officials to, quote, consider Jewish tradition when deciding to issue work permits for the Sabbath. The bill was originally brought forward by United Torah Judaism MK Moshe Gafni over issues with weekend work permits given for construction on Israeli rail lines. The dispute even got heated enough for UTJ MK Yaakov Litzman to resign from his post as health minister last month out of protest. This law's passing also comes at the heels of the advancement of a related bill that would give the interior minister control over whether mini markets in Israel could stay open on the Sabbath, with the exception of those in secular Tel Aviv. But the bill that passed this morning dictates that the Labor and Welfare Minister must from now on consider Jewish culture and impact when issuing work permits for the Sabbath. Considerations that the current Welfare Minister, Chaim Katz, must now make include but are not limited to the workers' welfare, Jewish tradition, the possibility of an alternative day, and the effect that the work on the Sabbath will have on the surrounding public. Minister Katz says he already takes such things into account and that in most cases it's foreign companies with foreign and non-Jewish workers who typically win tenders to work on the weekend anyhow. Norway has just announced that it will cut funds to Palestinian NGOs that call for boycotting the state of Israel. Norwegian officials have issued a statement saying that the move is meant to support a dialogue between Israel and the Palestinians and promote cooperation between them. The Israeli government has praised this decision, calling it a, quote, vital step for damaging boycott organizations, end quote, that aim to harm Israel. This comes mere days after Denmark announced similar plans to cut state funds to pro-BDS non-governmental groups as well. Denmark's own investigation into its funding of Palestinian NGOs revealed that a huge percentage of the money was actually being funneled to promote the global boycott of the Jewish state. Both Denmark and Norway will now cut off those funds altogether and tighten the requirements for any NGOs that wish to receive government money. Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Gilad Erdan has promised that Israel will, quote, continue to work consistently to expose European funding for Palestinian organizations that delegitimize the country. Japanese Foreign Minister Taro Kono is in Israel this week, and despite the Japanese voting against Israel and the United States at the UN, Prime Minister Netanyahu chose to focus on strengthening ties between the two countries instead, at least publicly. Regarding their private meeting, Netanyahu's spokespeople declined to comment on whether the issue was raised or not. During his meeting with President Rivlin, however, Foreign Minister Kono was not spared of the subject. Their meeting was cordial and respectful as well, but President Rivlin made a point more than once that, quote, just as Tokyo is the capital of Japan, Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, end quote. Foreign Minister Kono will be in the region just 2 days, first to Israel and then to the Palestinian Authority. Israel and Japan have enjoyed positive relations for roughly 65 years. Over just the last 3, Japanese investment in Israel has increased 20-fold, and the number of Japanese businesses in Israel has doubled.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.